Welcome back to another class with Chef Rob, where today we're going to make a chocolate banana snickerdoodle bread. We're at my home and we're doing the virtual classes for right now, and you will absolutely love this bread. It's very simple, very delicious. I'm going to go over everything for you right now. So the first step is we're going to take 2/3 of a cup of sugar. This is the granulated sugar. Make sure it's nice and level, nice and full. This is a 1/3 cup measurement, so I am going to be taking 2 of these, nice and level again. And then I'm going to take 1/3 of a stick of room temperature butter. Take it out a couple hours ahead of time. Have it room temperature, easier to work with, easier to cream the butter. You can get a mixer, but for such a small dish like this, if you have gloves or something like that, I would just cream it with your hands. Okay, so what I want to do is get all the butter and all the sugar mixed up until there is nothing left but one consistency. This is a bread that you and your family will make over and over again. It is delicious, it is moist, it freezes well, great for something in the breakfast, for packing and sending away to kids in college or taking a lunch. Anything like that will work good. Okay, just a little bit more here. I want to get all that sugar that is on the bottom here. Sometimes lifting the dough and then pressing it down into the sugar, it will grab more of it. And that step is just about done right now. As you can see, nothing left in the bottom. Okay, just butter and sugar in my hand. Now I'm going to take 2 room temperature eggs. Okay, this you can use the large to extra large eggs. Just crack it in like that. I've cracked so many eggs that one hand just comes very naturally. So I'm adding these 2 eggs in here. Just going to mix that up, beat up these eggs just a little bit. And then I'm going to add some bananas to this. Now that the eggs are in, let's add our bananas. Okay, you can add 2 medium to 3 large, 3 at being the most. Okay, I want to use the most ripe bananas that I can get. Okay, this one is going to be loaded with flavor because it is very ripe. So what I'm going to do, you can take a potato masher, or if you do have the gloves, you can mash it just like this. Okay, just get it nice and smooth. Add that right into the batter. Okay, I'm going to get these other 2 bananas here. Actually, I want to do the other end. The other end makes it peel a lot easier. Okay, again, fold it in half, mash it really well. Okay, the riper it is, the easier it is to kind of mash. Okay, and let me get one more. Now bananas, when you buy them, always separate them as soon as you get home from the supermarket, and then put them in your basement if you do have a basement. A cool place, they will last a lot longer. One of the tricks I've learned is put a piece of aluminum foil on the stem or a piece of saran wrap. They will stop ripening right away and they will last for weeks without going bad. So at this point, what I want to do is take the banana mixture, the eggs, the butter, and the sugar, and mix this all together. Okay, so this is our liquid part. And now we're going to start going on to our dry ingredients. And the next step, now we're going to add our dry ingredients. I'm going to add 1 cup of the all-purpose flour. I'm going to also add a 1/2 cup. And then a 1/4 cup. And that, of course, is equaling 1 3/4 cups of flour. Then we're going to add some cream of tartar. We don't use cream of tartar a lot, but in this recipe, it goes really well with snickerdoodles. Okay, for balancing it out the bread. I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon and then a full teaspoon of the cream of tartar. Cream of tartar, if you put a pinch in your vegetables while they're boiling, it brings out a nice bright color on carrots, and it brings it out on broccoli, asparagus. So don't forget that one. Okay, now I'm going to add some of the baking soda. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon and a 1/2 teaspoon. Nice and level. Very important to level everything out in baking. 1 salt. The salt, make sure you put that in there. It will bring out all the different flavors. It'll bring out the cinnamon, it'll bring out the chocolate, everything. Just gonna add in the cinnamon, nice and level. If you put a little too much cinnamon, it never hurt. Okay, we're gonna take a whisk, whisk up all the dry ingredients. And now we're gonna fold in our wet ingredients. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the wet ingredients, pour them into the dry ingredients. I just want to mix it just until it's incorporated. Don't want to see any flour. Don't over want to mix the batter, as that will toughen up the batter. That will make it for a little bit of a rubbery type of bread. Never want to do that. As soon as you see no flour, just stop. And then I will be adding in some of the semi-sweet chocolate chips. Okay. And 1 cup of chocolate chips will go in this. Okay, this is all nice and incorporated. It's a nice loose batter, as you can see. That means it's gonna be nice and moist. I'm gonna take some of these are the mini chocolate chips. They seem to just balance it out really well, better than the bigger ones. I really like them going through this bread. Want to make sure it's nice and full. Again, just like the cinnamon, if a few more fell in there, it'll all be good. Depends how much you like your chocolate. Let's mix this up really well. Okay, that is good. Just going to take my pan, a little bit of spray. I just want to give it a very quick spray. Don't want to make it greasy on the bottom. You don't want to taste spray. You could also use the butter and kind of grease the outside of it. Put a little bit of flour on it as well. I'm just going to take this mixture and pour this right into the pan. I want to make sure that the batter is nice and level. That way it makes for easy and even cooking. Okay. Okay, take your spoon or spatula, whatever you may be using. Make sure it's nice and flat. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a cinnamon sugar and put that right on top. Now let's make the cinnamon sugar topping. Okay, I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of the light granulated sugar and then 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. If gloves or a little spoon, just mix that around really good with maybe your finger. Okay, and then we're going to pour this on top. You can pour this as much or as little as you think you may like. Okay, cinnamon and sugar always make it taste good. I like to kind of just like give it a nice dusting on top. If you have a little extra, it's fine. Save it for your French toast or some other baked good that you may use. But I do want to coat it really well. Okay, that is good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put this in a 350 oven for 50 to 60 minutes. With the banana being in there, being very ripe, when you test it, it will be baked into the bread, so when it comes out, it should come out nice and clean. As I always say, put a piece of aluminum foil on the rack above. Not on top of the bread, but on the rack above. Prevents it from getting too dark too quick, and you don't want to burn the cinnamon sugar. This is a delicious bread that will be great in the freezer, and we'll show you it right when it comes out of the oven. So everybody, I just took this right out of the oven. It's cooled. I baked this at the 350 and it took about 1 hour to bake, and I'm going to cut it inside so you can see the inside of it. You can see the chocolate, the cinnamon, and the bananas, the very ripe bananas, makes this a really delicious, moist bread. So everybody, thank you for coming into my home, and be glad to see you again next time.